I have the pleasure of giving the word to the DG Environment. Dr. Rosa Antidormi.
Thank you very much, Mario, for the floor. Good afternoon, distinguished participants, and to the European Parliament for hosting this important and timely event. It's really fantastic to be with you in person. I would like to share with you the Commission efforts to achieve a Mediterranean region free from all forms of pollution, including from shipping and fisheries. Around Mare Nostrum, other colleagues said it before, the EU shares with the neighboring countries culture, natural resources trade, and regrettably also pollution. And this is affecting a densely populated region and a fragile marine environment. So joint action is needed. The Commission mandate is, as you know, the European Green Deal, and its zero pollution and smart and sustainable mobility ambitions. And the deal, through a sustainable growth strategy, is set to ensure that the EU becomes, by 2050, the world's first climate neutral, depolluted continent. And to do that, it envisages a future-ready, zero-carbon and circular economy, where a growth is decoupled from resources use and factors in all the externalities. Under the European Green Deal, we are all collectively working on many EU environmental laws, which delivered many important outcomes so far, but more remains to be done. Few examples from the environmental angle are, for example, current work on the Ambient Air Quality Directive, which is relevant also in the context of the SECA, the Urban Wastewater, Marine Strategy, Nature Restoration Law, which, by the way, the proposal of the Commission was approved today, and of course, important initiatives like the Fit for 55 for decarbonization and Repower EU on the energy transition to decarbonization. I mean, the discussion has to go beyond just one pollutant, sulfur oxide, has to be as holistic as possible and look at all the aspects at the same time. On the international front, we have many appointments ahead of us. The UNFCCC COP27 in Cairo, in Egypt, a key event on decarbonization, of course, and COP15 on biodiversity now planned in Montreal, and the UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon at the end of this month. Of course, without mentioning the International Maritime Organization. I mean, in this context, I think the maritime and fishery community need really to send a clear signal to the world that we are ready to work hard with this community, and we aim very high to win over climate instability and pollution at sea, below sea, and above sea level. I can only stress that the European Commission continues to push for the creation of emission control areas for sulfur oxides and other pollutants in all European waters, including, of course, the Mediterranean Sea, where we are getting close to the end. Let me recall that the initiative aims to protect the health of millions of Mediterranean citizens and their marine environment from pollution coming from ships, and this makes economic sense, very important. And a bit of pride. The Mediterranean is setting an example for other European waters to do the same, to follow the same initiative and establish ECAs in their areas, possibly in the near future. I had the honor to be in the delegation of the European Union at the IMO at the beginning of the month, at the 78th session of the Marine Environment Protection Committee, and I can tell you the IMO considered at length and approved the SECA designation proposal. And yeah, it's a very important step, but now final aim is that adoption happens at the following session at MEPC 79 by the end of the year. And these had to possibly materialize with an area that enters into effect already in 2025. At the MEPC 76, I have to proudly report the Mediterranean countries and the EU presented and defended their proposal and strengthen its cost-benefit cases. There are indeed 1,000 avoided premature death and more than 2,000 cases of childhood asthma each year, with benefits as well to many sensitive ecosystems. These avoided costs on governments are significantly higher, 3 to 7 times higher, than the compliance costs for the maritime sector and the linked businesses. Of course, we did, in the proposal, analyze all the socioeconomic impact, not only on international shipping, but also on the short sea shipping, the domestic shipping in the Mediterranean. That is a requirement of the IMO, and it was also requested by the sectors. The IMO support for the SECA proposal was really, let me tell you, overwhelming. Many countries in favor: US, Panama, Bahamas, Singapore, Singapore, Vanuatu, Norway, Jamaica. And Bahamas and Jamaica, they even stated loudly, we want an NECA also in our waters. Nevertheless, as always in the debate at IMO, there are countries that have expressed concerns: China, Thailand, India, Russian Federation, and Argentina. These were of technical nature, economic nature, and procedural. One procedural concern in particular regards the fact that there is no complete ratification of Annex 6 to Marpol Convention by all the Mediterranean countries. And there is a concern regarding this point. A precedent needs to be avoided for those experts of Marpol Convention, but very importantly, ratification of Annex 6 ensures the level playing field for economic operators, legal clarity, and consistent enforcement of the SECA rules. So in economic terms, it's very, very important beside the environmental aspects of having this ratification done. I have to say that one country in particular, Egypt, which is a very important country in the Mediterranean, we know because of the Suez Canal, and is as important, it's an area as important as Gibraltar, because these are important accesses to the Mediterranean Sea, openly expressed their opposition to ratify right away on the ground that this happens many times in IMO, that this remains a national prerogative. I have to say this was not really facilitating the process, but at the same time, it was very honest and transparent, and it pointed out to the Mediterranean community and to the international community that indeed we must do something more to achieve the ratification, at least by the entry into force of the area. The reason why I say it was not easy is that sometimes these aspects, legitimate, can still be used as delaying tactics, which is something we would like to avoid. I have to say the SECA is the result of a very complex process at international, and an example of successful international cooperation. We are talking about an agreement by 21 countries, never before. We had an NECA with such a number of participants, and it owes very, very much to the Barcelona Convention and the regional framework, which started and prepared this work for the Mediterranean. I will move now on the European Commission contribution. I just mentioned the regional framework, and indeed the Commission contributes to more than 11% to the convention budget, and the EU as a whole provides 85% of the resources. So this is a very important contribution to ensure that the regional framework works properly, and also provides help, provides the condition to help the countries that are outside the EU to prepare together with the rest of the of the Mediterranean for the implementation of the SECA. So let me stress the ratification of Annex 6 is very urgent and remains so, but the EU intends to continue to support this process and help the alignment of legal framework, enforcement capacity building, infrastructure and financial support as appropriate and as needed. We believe that the active engagement in the SECA will bring a green reputation, a sustainability reputation in the region, and this usually attracts much more investments and facilitates access, for instance, to EU funds, but also to funds outside the EU. As regards EU funds, also banks like EIB or BRD are aware of the initiative, and this can be used indeed to facilitate access to funds that are not only relevant for air pollution, but also to decarbonization, biodiversity, can be found on regional cohesion, transport and innovation, of course, all representing an aspect of a complex problem. Of course, the role of IMO, the UNEP Mediterranean Action Plan, the Union for Mediterranean and the West Mediterranean have all a very important role to play in the region, especially to continue the dialogue with non-EU countries. Of course, we have the European Maritime Safety Agency and REMPEC, which will be instrumental in the practical implementation. And we have the Life for MEDECA project. Yes, the MEPC 78 approval of the MEDSECA was a great success, but we have to make sure that MEPC 79 confirms at all prices 2025 as a year of entry into effect. Let me finish on all hands on deck to avoid undue delays. Yes, we are going to work hard on this. We can do it only with the strong support from all of you here, colleagues from the European Parliament, ports, maritime industry, representative of non-EU countries, representative of EU countries, Mediterranean Authority, and the wider maritime community as a whole. Thank you so much for your kind attention.